So I want to talk a bit about the controversy concerning the use of gender-specific pronouns. These are words like he, she, and her. Although we use these pronouns without really thinking very deeply about them, these pronouns are and have been the subject of a good deal of dispute. This is mainly due to the fact that many people do not identify as male or female with respect to their gender identity. Now, one common response is that one's gender is a biologically settled matter, and hence there's nothing more to say about it than what one is assigned at birth. But this, in fact, is to, I think, confuse gender with biological sex. A sex is largely understood biologically and can be accounted for by chromosomal differences. A gender is something else, right? Gender is how one feels internally, if you like. It's where one feels themselves to be on the feminine-masculine spectrum, is the image that's often used. And many people feel that their gender is indeterminate or non-binary. Now, people often want to classify these cases as psychological illusions or some mental disorder, but I think we need to exercise caution when attempting to dismiss people's subjective experience in these ways. After all, many people once believed, and many in fact still believe, that being gay or lesbian is a mental disorder, or just instances of people confused about their sexual orientation. I see no reason why being non-binary with respect to gender, or not conforming to either maleness or femaleness exclusively, should be ruled out. And no one would deny that this is logically possible, and it doesn't seem to contradict any known law of nature, any more than someone being attracted to a person of the opposite sex. And when you have lots of people feeling this way, it just seems reasonable to me to regard it as real and genuine. But acknowledging this immediately raises concerns about the pronouns we use that are gender specific. Well, many people have suggested what I think is a workable solution, and that is to use the singular form of the pronouns they, their, and them. These, of course, are gender neutral. So instead of saying Sally enjoys running, she runs 3 miles every day, we could say Sally enjoys running, they run 3 miles every day. Or if you find this confusing, Sally enjoys running, Sally runs 3 miles every day. I think there are a couple of important reasons to want our language to be gender neutral in this way. One, of course, is that many people are non-binary or non-conforming with respect to gender, and being referred to as something you don't feel yourself at all to be, not once or twice, but every day, I think can become a serious psychological weight or burden, and can often cause people to suffer from a profound sense of alienation. I mean, just take a second to imagine being misidentified in this way yourself, and often intentionally so. Imagine being referred to as she all the time, if you consider yourself he, or conversely. But another reason which we might consider is that gender-specific pronouns call attention to a person's biological sex every time we refer to that person. And you might think, what could be wrong with that? Well, imagine a world in which everyone used pronouns to refer to one another, but instead of these being based on biological sex, these pronouns were based on a person's skin color. Now, would we approve the use of such pronouns? Well, probably we wouldn't, right? Because this would be to stress a difference between individuals that is often only incidental and not essential to how one sees oneself. In addition to this, there are potential moral dangers, it seems to me, in dividing people up in this way. And I see the sex-based pronouns we use as problematic for the same reason. So I think there are good reasons for moving toward the use of gender-neutral pronouns. However, saying that it is better to do this does not tell us how we should go about achieving this end. Some people hold that we should legally regulate the use of certain pronouns, and we're seeing actions of this kind already. I'm not entirely sure what sorts of actions ought to be taken in this case, but I do feel that this is an issue that's worth discussing and addressing in some way. The sort of actions that will be taken and their long-term effects remains to be seen. So that is all for now, and thanks for listening.